Joining us now is Natalie Nougayrede, who is the former executive editor of the French newspaper Le Monde, and now with The Guardian, and we're joined from Chicago by the author and playwright Irvine Welsh. Natalie Nougayrede, you are absolutely certain that Charlie Hebdo has to publish tomorrow the image of the Prophet?
I'm really not surprised that they have decided to do so, because for them it is a question of resisting horrible attempt to intimidate them with guns, basically. So I'm really not surprised that they have decided to publish this
in the same position you would have done it?
Yes, I would personally have done it. And you have to also look at this particular drawing. The words on the drawing are all is forgiven, and I think it does rank among some of the most moderate drawings that Charlie Hebdo has ever published, and there's a message there, which is a message of openness.
Irvine Welsh, what are your feelings tonight? You're in a rather remote spot of Chicago, but I mean, I'm just wondering how you read it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's inevitable that they would show that kind of solidarity with their murdered colleagues, and they would publish something in that vein. I think it's a very big moment, because there is going to be a response from the whole Islam community. And I think it's a big moment for Islam, a big moment for Muslims, because I think it's one of the response is going to determine whether kind of Islam makes peace with the modern world, with kind of science and technology, and with the kind of with the secular world in the way that Christianity has done, and you know that people don't see it as a literal thing, as literal as text. Or is it going to get into the medieval fascism?
For yourself,
so the response is very important.
But for yourself, you've written, "I am not Charlie."
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can put yourself in that kind of position. I mean, I think you can empathise with people, but and I appreciate people saying that I am Charlie as a gesture of solidarity, but they're not putting themselves in the firing line. I mean, it's like it's easy for the British press, for example, to stoke all this "I am Charlie" stuff, but they won't be publishing any cartoons of Mohammed. You can guarantee that, for all sorts of reasons. One of the elephants in the elephants in the room is the whole impact of Saudi and Kuwaiti money in London. The whole the sponsorships and the kind of deals that the establishment have with Saudi Arabia and with Kuwait. So I think that there's a lot of hypocrisy involved with our so-called free press.
Right.
They're making the snowballs for someone else to throw.
But you're unshaken by this, and I'm wondering whether you recognise that it's a different thing to be French, a different thing to be on the staff of Charlie Hebdo, and that for others there are issues. I mean, for one thing, not everybody agrees with the way in which Charlie Hebdo operated anyway.
It's certain that there is absolutely no obligation to publish such cartoons, nor is there any obligation to read and buy Charlie Hebdo. I think the whole...
It's going to be hard to avoid it on the newsstands with 3 million copies of it.
Yes, of course, because this was the help and the support that came towards Charlie Hebdo for it to survive, because a big part of its staff was assassinated, is all about defending the right to publish such cartoons and the right of a certain tone within freedom of the press in France, but more widely in Europe. And I think you have to bear in mind that Charlie Hebdo never violated anything to do with rule of law in France. Now, one may or not agree with such laws, but it was prosecuted in 2007. It was put on trial by Muslim organizations in France, and the judge ruled that nothing that was printed in Charlie Hebdo ever went beyond the admissible limits of freedom of speech. I think freedom of speech has to be upheld, especially in the face of this tragedy, within the rule of law.
Within the rule of law, Irvine Welsh, but you have issues with Charlie Hebdo.
Well, I mean, I think the issues that I have with it, I mean, I think it's a very bold thing that it did, and I think that if people have faith, they should be prepared for that faith to be attacked. You know, whether it's a political faith or a religious faith, but whatever these values are, if the faith is strong, and the faith is genuine, it'll survive these attacks. So I don't see that there's any need for people to kind of stick up on behalf of a kind of omnipotent, all-powerful, supernatural deity. I think it's just nonsense. And you know, so, but I also think that you know, we need to have freedom of speech, but we do need to exercise that freedom responsibly. And I think people can tell whether a magazine is kind of has a bigger, broader political point it's trying to make, or whether it's just trying to be obnoxious and insult a group of people.
Irvine Welsh.
You know, I think that the Charlie magazine does both, basically.
Thank you very much.
I think that a lot of the images are very racist.
Thank you very much for joining us from Chicago. Sorry about the delay on the line. And Natalie Nougayrede, thank you very much indeed for joining us.